Join me every month for the inspiration to find your finish line. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Find Your Finish Line, presented by Curad Performance, the official medical supplier of IRONMAN. Kinesiology tape. You've got to use it. If you've got those aches and pains, it'll get you through your race, get you through your training. You can find it at Walmart, at Amazon, and Ironman.com. Find Your Finish Line is not only about you being able to find your finish line at an event or a race, but also in life. We talk to people that have jumped all kinds of hurdles to get to where they are today, both in sport and in life. And hopefully they'll be able to inspire you. My guest today, Andrea Peet. It's an absolutely amazing story. I have been following her for a little while now. And whenever you come across someone who pushes through barriers, you can't help but want to be a part of what they're doing. So, Andrea, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And Andrea is joined by Meredith Atwood, her mentor. She's writing her memoirs with her. Andrea just completed 50 marathons in all 50 states, just finished up in Alaska. And she's battling ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease here in the U.S. And Andrea, your journey started in 2016, I think at the Shamrock Marathon in Virginia Beach. And did you ever think that you were going to get from that race to where you were in Alaska?
Absolutely not. I realized that I just wanted to live my life not in a fear of ALS, and I resolved to do every risk that I can.
Yes, and along the way, your organization that you co-founded, Team Drea, which is you got that name came from your husband. That's your the nickname for you. I love that, and you've raised over $850,000 in support of ALS research. You have to be so proud of that.
I'm honored. Yeah.
One of the awesome things was when she was speaking at the keynote after her race, and she's like, the goal was to raise 50,000, right, Andrea? And she was able to say, surprise, we raised 100,000, like doubled it. So absolutely incredible. And one of the things Andrea said in the beginning, I just want to make sure you guys heard it. When she went to do these marathons, when this all started for her, she said she felt like she was waiting around for ALS to get her, to basically, she was sitting around for waiting to start to feel really bad and to go downhill and to die. Yeah, to die. And so that was when she got the idea to do 50 marathons in 50 states. And then in the middle of that journey, Andrea, a little thing called COVID happened, right? And so suddenly she's I think you had done 17 marathons at that point.
Yeah.
And then, we all locked down, and she was faced with a time where she could not travel and an already shortened time frame, right? And so to get to this finish line of 50 in Alaska, it really was quite a journey.
That is just, you know why, in my mind, it's so amazing is because of the pandemic. We all had to back down. We all had to stop our routines. We all had to become people that we didn't know we could become. And in your case, Andrea, when you're battling ALS, like you said, you don't want the disease to get you. You wanted to go out and do everything you can do. I don't know if this is your opinion, but ALS has a life expectancy of what, 2 to 2.5 to 3 years, and here
Yeah.
you're at the 8-year mark. I don't know. I think I truly believe that because you set that huge goal of 50 and 50, that is why you're still doing so well.
Yeah, I definitely believe that using my muscles and having a goal means all the achievement.
So are you going to do another 50 then?
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah.
Andrea. Well, and I think what
Yeah.
was so inspiring about this, because you and I talked on the phone during COVID. I remember you called me and you were like, what am I going to do with this lockdown? What? And I was like, well, why don't you start writing a book or something? You were like, I'm already writing a book. But it was just so interesting that you kept the faith and you were, we had talked about doing something else and you just, I remember you telling me like, I don't think you're hearing me. I'm going to do these marathons. So
Yeah.
let's talk about something else. I mean, you were so determined. And I think it's so interesting too, because you were diagnosed and shortly after finishing your first 70.3. And
Yeah.
and I mean, you were an athlete, you were a triathlete, you were in this world that we all know so well. And it was really quick from that diagnosis to when you were having trouble walking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like 8 months?
Yeah, I went from Australian and everyman
Yeah.
walking with a cane and then walker.
Yeah. So from a cane to a walker. And then for the marathons, I think it's important to note, and Mike, I'm just taking over here. Sorry.
You're taking the words out of my mouth. I know where you're going.
I'm taking
I love
over.
this.
But I wanted to let you, kind of circle it around. But the fact that you we're gonna do this last triathlon, and you got your inspiration from John Blaze, and that's where I wanted to kind of bring it around to Mike, because I know he was wanting to talk about John. So there, I'll be quiet.
Yeah, it's when I found out that Andrea has the connection to John Blaze, my heart skipped a beat because John Blaze and Mom and Dad I was very close with, and in 2005 when I was able to bring him across that finish line in Kona, and he did the roll because he said if he had to roll across the line, he'd do that. It inspired thousands upon thousands, and Andrea, you're continuing that, which I absolutely adore.
One Meredith, can you tell
Yeah. I think so. This was before you were diagnosed, right? Or you had been diagnosed. So her story with diagnosis, she went through all these tests, and at some point the test result was she had probable ALS.
And I had
that was
never
the
heard
diagnosis.
that. Yeah, probable ALS.
And whenever her book comes out, you'll be able to read that whole journey. But it was crazy. I mean, it was a waste of so much time that you're reading it going, oh my gosh, how many times is this woman going to get stuck with a needle? That's how they test, by the way. But I think you had been diagnosed with probable ALS, and you had come across John Blaze's story. And the interesting thing was his race number was 179. And that number had significance for Andrea because she played a French horn in band that was a 179. And then your race number for your triathlon, was it for your 70.3?
No.
For the one of the race numbers.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, was 179. And so she ended up seeing his story and calling. She emailed his parents, and then same day his parents called her, and they just started a friendship, and it just his story meant so much because she was able to see what an impact John made and what it meant to keep living and to really show up in the face of such fear and facing death. And after that happened, she decided to move forward with Team Drea and the fundraising, and she just really started living in the face of death. And so that's John's
And
inspiration.
and Andrea, just on the connection point of it, meeting John and being with him from 2005 until he passed away in 2007, the thing that impressed me the most, the thing that I've taken away with me was his aggressiveness to not give up, his aggressiveness to keep moving forward, his aggressiveness to look at it in the face and say, the heck with you. I'm going to live and I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Even though you'll probably take me away, I'm going to live. And that's probably also what's inspired you.
Absolutely. I saw his story right when I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right when you needed
Yeah,
that sort of hope.
yeah. It's amazing how that connection of fate always seems to happen with stuff like that. I love it. The goal of the 50 to 50 was a fantastic goal, but Andrea, I read there's a message you wanted people to get from that. Sure, it was fantastic. You went to 50 states over the period of time and on the recumbent bike and did the 50 marathons. But there was a message about bravery that you wanted to give people, wasn't there?
I want people to go on and be brave and appreciate what your body can do.
Yeah, because we can't, the pandemic, it took us out of our complacency and made us realize that we're very fortunate to be what we're doing and who we are. And I think that's the message. Don't you think so, Meredith?
Yeah. And I think, as we're working, Andrea and I are working on her memoir together. And as I'm reading what she's written, because she gave me a big old book, a lot of words. And as I'm reading through it, as someone who is not diagnosed with a terminal illness, to read certain lines, and I've got some of them here. I hope you don't mind, Andrea. But one of the lines that just smacked me in the face was, 3 years before I officially started dying, I started running. Just that line, I was like, oh my gosh. And then you start to think about it, that the message that I've gotten from working with Andrea is, what are you complaining about? Number one, live your life, especially for me, I'm always like, oh, I need to lose a couple pounds. I need to do this. And the message is live, show up. And part of her journey has been it took the diagnosis and waiting around to die, essentially, for her to start really stepping into living, into doing these marathons. And it's just so inspiring. And then another line, I'm sorry, I just think these are so great. She wrote, the moment I realized I could no longer walk on my own came as I lay in the middle of the street staring up at the headlights from oncoming cars. And that was one of these moments where she was just crossing the street and hit the pavement, because ALS just jumps so fast and so furiously, and so much came out of her control, which she's a type A, and it makes her crazy to have me talking for her right now. I can feel it, and I'm like, I'm trying, Andrea, I'm trying. But it's part of that process that she's learned to live. And so the message, every day I get to talk to Andrea or read her words, I'm just like, oh my gosh, go out and just live. Stop being an idiot, stop complaining, and go live, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, and Andrea, you're an athlete. There's no doubt in my mind or anybody else's mind, you're an athlete. But like all of us athletes, when we do our workouts, you're sore, you're beat up, you got to worry about recovery. How with ALS, how did your body respond after so many events? Were you sore every day?
Yeah. definitely Alaska was a lot more uh, uh, hilly than I experienced. But I realized that I needed to slow down and build my muscle slower.
You said Alaska was
and just like
hillier than you thought?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't think Alaska had any hills.
Yeah, everybody that rides any course in triathlon, they go, I was in Nebraska. Where the hell did these hills come from? I don't get this.
Right.
You know?
I'm sure the description of the course said rolling hills, right, Andrea? The great, like Lake Placid, rolling hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrea,
but,
if I can take back at the diagnosis period of your life, and then your doctors, what did they say when you told them what you wanted to do?
I mean, they did not believe me either. So you know, I have had to make my own way, and I've learned that no matter what you are facing, there is always hope. Yeah.
What on your background, because the resilience and the resolve and what I'm feeling that you are. Where'd that come from? Was that from
I'm
your
going to
parents?
answer this one
from your-
for her.
Yeah, where'd it come from? I love it, Meredith, when you said the type A thing. You know, you got 3 type A's right here, so you know this is.
Oh yeah.
So,
well, from one only child to another, Andrea. That's number one, only child with 2 precious parents who she was the center of the universe, and you know, just like one of the things she writes about in her book is how she was sitting in a doctor's office and she took a quiz in a parenting magazine or something, and it basically described her to a T, which was like acts like a little adult, perfectionist, never gets anything wrong or whatever. But I mean, I think it's part of her personality, because even before the diagnosis, I mean, you were running hard. Triathlon was everything, right? Your job was everything. So I think it's just who you are. Where'd it come from? It's in your genes.
But
Yeah, and that
I was afraid a lot of the time. I was driven by fear. And
growing
now,
up.
And then even in a triathlon, I didn't want to be last. And so now it's like I am finding every day that I am out there. It's a gift, and I never want to take that for granted.
Yeah.
Andrea, are you still driven by fear?
No.
Good for you.
I lost my ability to be afraid when I got the worst news of my life. You know, when they tell you that you are going to die, you can really clear.
You get really clear. Clear about what's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I know you wrote was a lot of people ask you, how did you feel after you were diagnosed? And you said, and I'm paraphrasing, but the bigger question is, how do you feel the day after you're diagnosed? Because that's when you have to wake up and figure out, how do you go on living? And that's really what seems to be where the fear started to dissipate for you.
Yeah, I mean, and that is where someone like John who just kept moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah. John Blaze, he just kept going, and that's what you do. Yeah.
Hold on, everyone. We'll be right back after a message from our sponsors. Curad, the official medical supplier of IRONMAN. Let Curad keep you strong so those strains and pains of training and you trying to find your finish line go away. With their wraps, braces, and tape, and especially their far infrared kinesiology tape that'll keep you strong through all your training. Check out their products today on Amazon.com, at Walmart, and Ironman.com, and let Curad help you find your finish line. We're listening to Andrea Peet, who's battling ALS and just did 50 marathons in 50 states, and Meredith Atwood right there with her, writing her memoirs. She's an author.
No, I did not also do that.
No. I know, that's right. Meredith didn't do that. That's a disclaimer there.
No, not even close. And
yeah,
you can't make me.
I love it. How and Meredith, if Andrea can answer this, it'd be great. But if not, how confident is the medical community nowadays that we're getting closer to finding a cure for ALS or medications that will help, have somebody live longer? Simple as that.
I think that's probably you, Andrea. Hadn't done my homework on that part.
Yeah. So, it is a underfunded a disease, and the ice bucket a challenge. She's the
The ice bucket, she said that it's an underfunded disease. So, there's not a lot of heavy money. Like, for cancer research and stuff, obviously, there's tons of money. And so it's underfunded. And I know what you're going to say about the ice bucket challenge. That really brought money and awareness.
Yeah.
But it's still underfunded as far as research. And so there is a need. And so the fact that Andrea's raised $850,000 for the research is astounding.
That absolutely is. How can somebody donate? What's the website?
Can they do it through Team Drea Foundation.org? Is it .com or .org? Team Drea Foundation.
TeamDrea.org.
TeamDrea.org. I should have known.
Okay, that's TeamDrea.org for battling ALS, Andrea's organization. So we have a lot of age groupers out there that listen to this show, Andrea, age group triathletes, and you know what they're all about. I mean, they want to succeed, but sometimes when I talk to them, they're complaining about things they really shouldn't be complaining about. What kind of advice would you give them today?
I mean, it is not about the seconds and a transition. It is about being out there and feeling your muscles move and breathing hard and just enjoying a life like that. This is the time that you have. So just me, I'm grateful.
Yeah. Make the most of
Beautiful advice.
I love what you said about enjoy breathing hard. And I'm like, ew, but then I'm talking to you and I'm like, oh, right? Because it's just every time you're either reading something Andrea's written or you're in her presence, you are reminded to live and to enjoy breathing heavy and to enjoy feeling everything that is life. And that, it's a great reminder what you just said. Enjoy being the journey, right? Quit always aiming for the destination, because frankly, the destination for all of us is death. How about that?
That is right.
I mean, there's a news flash for all of us, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the final finish line, for goodness sakes. But we don't
Right.
want to talk about that one, you know.
Why?
Meredith,
It's the only way to live.
it is. It absolutely is. Meredith, I'm going to ask you a question because you and I are a lot alike, and I've always respected and love what you do and what you've written and how you keep pushing forward. But we've had the opportunity to meet some amazing people. You being close to Andrea and working side by side with her and getting those memoirs out, how has her life affected your life?
Oh gosh. I mean, when you asked me, Mike, how I knew Andrea, I thought I got to go back and remember because I honestly did not remember my life without Andrea, which is really weird because
Wow.
we only, officially met online around 2014. And we met because I was running a Facebook group and she posted in it and she said, like, yesterday or last week, I was diagnosed with ALS. And everyone was like, what? And over the next few years we got to know her and did some fundraisers and all the fun stuff. But I mean, every time like I said, every time I see Andrea or hear from her, it's a reminder that life is not what many of us think it is, that we think we just have all this time and we think we can do what we want to do later or just put everything off. And so my life has been changed by Andrea and like also knowing the Peace Brothers and people that have done just extraordinary things with what they have. And I know that sounds kind of like with what they have, but truly with the body that they have in the moment they have it, on the day they have it, they show up and they do their best and they keep going. And that's what Andrea teaches me. That's what the Peace Brothers teach me. That's what everyone who is really present in their life and showing up every day can teach you. It's the curmudgeons in the world and the Eeyores that you got to stay away from. But, and I love Andrea's story and that I'm getting to work with her because my kids ask, what are you working on? And I get to tell them and they're like, whoa, really? So the example that she's showing like through her story on the New York Times and on ABC and that people are getting to see this, it really is just reinforcement that we need to get busy living.
Yes, we absolutely do. And I know you're doing the memoirs. What about, didn't you put together, or it's being put together, a documentary of the 50 marathons in 50 states? Is that happening?
Yeah, we plan to edit in 2020 in Alaska, and then COVID happened, so we were able to keep filming and it will through Alaska this year, and so it will
I think y'all are
out
trying to get it to the film, like to the streaming services, right? That's the goal, is to
Oh, okay.
have at the end of this year should be done.
We will are releasing next year.
Next year.
I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see that. That will be something. Being brave is something that people talk about but don't often do. Why do you think that is, Andrea?
I think that people are afraid. They are afraid that they will make a fool out of themselves, or they will fail, or they just won't live up to what they want. But I think it's more about just appreciating where you are now and building on that from where you are.
Yeah, you raise a good
So-
point that people are afraid of looking stupid. And
Yeah.
like, one part of your book that you talk about that is like a reoccurring theme. I was thinking, like, what are the themes in this book we're working on? And one of them is you falling on your face over and over and over again as this was happening, and terrible falls, right? And at some point you were just like, well, I guess this looking bad part is not a concern anymore because I've hit the pavement so many times. But it's so true. You've got to hit the pavement a certain number of times, the proverbial pavement, in order to realize, okay, there's nothing to be afraid of with this part of my life. And so I think part of your story with being brave is falling down, getting up, doing it again, and knowing that you could completely fall again. Yeah.
Yeah, and the old adage of, you're not a failure if you fall down, you're a failure if you don't get up. And being brave gets you up, that's for sure. Andrea, what's next for you? You're going to go over to Europe and do all the countries, or what's next?
Well, we have been thinking about Canada. And,
Canada? What is
like,
this?
Like across Canada or what?
Like every
No, you mean a vacation. A vacation to Canada where you don't get on your trike, right?
No, she's talking about province to province. I know she is, aren't you?
Exactly.
You didn't tell me this. I thought we were supposed to get on writing, my dear.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Andrea, tell Meredith you can write from the road. It's okay.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I look at, the whole country, and I think how many places I haven't been, and I would love to go. And I will be out there as long as I possibly can.
Well, I know the Canadians, as beautiful people as they are, they will welcome you with open arms. You'll be staying in their houses and everything else. That would be a beautiful deal. Looking back at the whole time, Andrea, of the 50 marathons and all the places you were, is there one thing that happened that you can reminisce with us about that is either funny or sad or getting up or falling down? Is there something that sticks in your mind like, oh my gosh, I remember when I did this?
Yeah. So in Jackson, Mississippi, I all of a sudden hit a pothole, popped my chin off, and my husband was 4 miles away, and he ran from downtown and put the chin back on, and I had already made a peace with myself that we were coming back, and so and that I wouldn't finish the race, and he was like, no, you are going to do it, and so I did, and then we went to a bike shop, and repaired the train, and drove to a Little Rock to a good new marathon the next day.
Wow. Oh, so you backed it up with one the very next day.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I got one to add that
What?
Okay, so she applied, or I guess not applied, but contacted the Boston Marathon people about running Boston. And they were like, no, you can't propel yourself on a trike. You can be pushed, but you can't propel
Right.
yourself. So they turned her down. So she just went ahead and did the course anyway on her own the day before the marathon. So that's personally one of my favorites. Hello, Boston.
I love it. And
yeah.
And you went like sub 4 hours, didn't you?
Yeah.
3:48, right? Yeah. And then my very favorite is, and I hope you can link to this video, Mike. I think it's probably, well, I'll find it for you and make sure we can link to it. But just at the end of Alaska, at the end of the 50th, they're all 49 medals, maybe 50 medals, because I think you had done 50 because of Boston. But people were holding a medal for each of the races she had completed in the finish chute. And then her husband, David, put the 50th around her neck, and you can see him saying, I love you. And it's just like, ooh, like, oh my gosh. And just being a part of, just reading her story and knowing her, and that moment is gold right there. So I'm gonna have to send you the link to that video. Yeah, good. Oh my gosh,
that almost made me cry listening to that. The video, I'm gonna be bawling all over the place.
Well, and David and Andrea have such, marriage is hard. Period. Like, let's just stand on that sentence. But their marriage is this beautiful, like, tumultuous, just powerful existence because of everything they've gone through. And the words "till death do us part." I mean, you say those words and then you get an ALS diagnosis thrown in the middle. And just seeing how much David does, to support Andrea and to support the whole organization, and like just seeing him put that medal around her neck, and they got a good love story. It is sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I absolutely can't wait to read what you guys are putting together. What's the timeline on that coming out?
Well, I'm so happy you asked. we have about 50,000 words ready to shop. So here's the thing. We will have this book done. Well, I didn't know about Canada, so I got to talk to this one offline. But I mean, 3 to 5 months is the goal to have a completed memoir transcript for the right publisher. So we are shopping. So anyone listening that knows anyone or who's interested in this story, reach out to Andrea's publicist or me, and we will be glad to talk about it, because we want to get it rolling, and we've had a couple bites, but it's not so often that an agent can like actually have a nonfiction memoir handed to them to review, and we're going to be prepared to do that. So, there's my pitch.
I'm a proponent of self-publishing, so if you ever look down that road, I'd be happy to give you guidance there, because there's nothing wrong with that either. So that's right. But Andrea,
well, and I did my first book that way too, and so I've told Andrea like we can go that route. We're going to try and get it through the traditional channels first for distribution, but if not, absolutely, we're gonna get the book done and her book out there.
See, what's that? See?
Oh my gosh,
my library.
It's still in arm's reach. I'm so honored.
It is. Are you kidding me?
You never know when I'm going to pop up. You're like, I better have this book ready.
No, I don't. Well, Andrea, it has been an honor and privilege to talk to you. I can't wait to see what you do next. I hope everybody listening goes to Team Drea, TEAMDREA.org, and donates and keeps watching your story. I know you update that website and all that good stuff. And Meredith, thanks for you sitting in and helping along. So, Andrea, any final words at all?
Just go on and be brave.
There you go. Simple as that. Be brave. If everybody did that in the world, it'd be a much better place to live. Thank you to both of you. Thank you, everybody, for listening in to another edition of Find Your Finish Line, presented by Curad Performance, the official medical supplier of IRONMAN. Always keep in mind, everybody, every day is a gift. You make sure you wrap it up, give it to yourself, because tomorrow will be here before you know it. Aloha to each and every one of you.